The exploration ship Aurora's Reach slid silently through the emptiness of space. Her silver hull reflected the faint glow of distant stars, a lonely traveler far from Earth. Inside, the hum of the engines was steady and calm, a constant reminder that the ship was alive, carrying its crew deeper into the unknown. Commander Elias Kane stood at the wide viewing window of the bridge. He was a tall man in his early 40s, with sharp eyes and a quiet strength that his crew trusted. His gaze was fixed on the planet ahead, a world covered in shadow circling a red star that burned weakly at its edge. The planet's surface shimmered with strange twilight colors, as if it could not decide whether it belonged to night or day. "Uncharted planet," the navigator, Lieutenant Arya Morgan, said softly, her voice filled with wonder. "Readings show ruins, artificial structures, massive in scale." The bridge grew quiet. Discovering life was rare, but finding ruins of an alien civilization was even rarer. For humanity, each discovery of the past carried weight. It was a chance to learn, a chance to connect with something beyond themselves. Kane nodded slowly. "Bring us into orbit. I want full scans of the surface." The crew worked quickly, fingers moving across glowing consoles. The ship adjusted course, sliding smoothly into orbit around the planet. The main display lit up with shifting scans, showing mountains, deserts, and sprawling ruins that stretched across valleys like the skeletons of fallen giants. Dr. Sarah Vey, the science officer, leaned forward in her seat. "Commander, the ruins show patterns. Towers, bridges, even what looks like starport remains. This wasn't just a colony. This was a civilization. And now it's gone." Kane murmured, more to himself than to anyone else. He felt the familiar chill of mystery crawl through him. Who were they? What happened to them? And why did their silence stretch across the stars? The ship drifted quietly above the planet as though waiting for permission to explore. Kane turned to his crew. "Prepare an away team. We'll set down near the largest ruin cluster. This is what we came out here for." The shuttle descended through thick clouds that swirled in purple and gold hues. Lightning flickered far away, though the air around them was calm. Kane sat at the front of the shuttle, eyes locked on the dark shapes rising from the ground below. The ruins were massive, tall stone spires leaning toward the sky, half broken, half swallowed by creeping vines of silver plants. As they landed, dust and fragments scattered in the air. The hatch opened with a hiss and Kane stepped onto alien soil. The ground was dark, smooth like glass in some places, cracked in others. The ruins stretched around him, silent but heavy with unseen history. Lieutenant Morgan's voice broke the silence. "It feels strange here, like the air itself is listening." Kane understood what she meant. The place felt alive, though no movement could be seen. The ruins carried weight like whispers frozen in stone. Dr. Vey scanned the area with her handheld device. "The energy signatures are unusual. I'm detecting faint readings. Very faint, but they're there. Almost like echoes." "Echoes of what?" Kane asked. "Consciousness," she whispered, frowning. "But that's impossible." The team spread out, carefully exploring. They moved through towering arches and broken halls filled with carvings. The symbols on the walls glowed faintly when their lights passed over them, as if reacting to human presence. Kane stopped in front of one tall wall. Strange, elegant figures had been carved into the stone, showing alien beings with tall frames, long limbs, and eyes that seemed almost human in their sorrow. The carvings showed them reaching toward the stars, building great ships, then falling, their figures crumbling into dust. They knew they were dying, Kane thought quietly. They carved their story so someone would see it. Then it happened. A sound, at first it was faint, just a ripple in the air like the wind brushing against stone. But then it became clearer, a voice that spoke his name, Elias. Kane froze. His heart pounded in his chest. The voice was soft, almost melodic, yet heavy with urgency. He turned sharply, scanning the ruins. "Did you hear that?" he asked the team. "Hear what?" Morgan asked, her brow furrowed. The voice came again, stronger this time, echoing faintly in his ears. "Elias." Kane swallowed hard. It said my name. Something is calling me. Dr. Vey's eyes widened. "Commander, no one said anything." "We didn't hear a word." Kane shook his head. He was sure. The sound was not in his mind. It was too real, too sharp. It wasn't a hallucination. The voice came a third time, carrying something new this time. Desperation. "Elias. Please." The words cut through him like a blade of ice. The crew returned to the shuttle after hours of searching, but Kane couldn't focus on the mission reports or the scans. The voice stayed with him, repeating in his memory, calling his name as though it had always known him. Back aboard the Aurora's Reach, Kane stood in the observation deck, staring at the planet below. It glowed faintly under the light of its dying red star. His crew's voices echoed in his mind, caution, concern, curiosity, but none of it mattered as much as the single haunting voice that had called out to him in the ruins. It was not static. It was not a dream. Someone or something had spoken his name, and Kane knew deep inside that he had to return. The next day, the crew of Aurora's Reach gathered in the main briefing room. The planet spun slowly outside the wide windows, half shrouded in darkness, half glowing under faint starlight. The tension in the room was thick. Kane stood at the head of the table, his arms crossed as the reports flickered on the screen. Dr. Sarave's voice was calm, but her words carried weight. The ruins show signs of energy fields, she explained. Weak, almost gone, but still present. It's unlike anything in our databases. The strangest part is, some of the signals matched patterns we normally see in neural activity, almost like thought waves frozen in stone. A murmur spread among the crew. Neural activity? That meant something alive once tied itself into the ruins. Lieutenant Morgan frowned. Commander, about yesterday. You said you heard something, a voice. If the ruins carry memory or thought, maybe that's what you heard. Kane's eyes narrowed. It didn't just sound like a voice. It spoke my name. It knew me. The room grew silent. For a long moment, no one spoke. Finally, Dr. Vey said quietly, if that's true, then the ruins may not only hold memories, they may be trying to reach us, to reach you. The words echoed in everyone's mind. That night, Kane couldn't sleep. The corridors of the ship were quiet, dimly lit with soft blue lights. He walked to the observation deck, his steps heavy with unease. Below, the planet glowed faintly in the starlight, still and silent as if waiting. Then the voice came again. Elias. He froze, gripping the railing. The sound was not in the ship's speakers. It was not through his comm. It was inside his head, yet not from his mind. A voice carried across distance, heavy with emotion. I am here, the voice whispered. I am waiting. Kane's breath caught. Who are you? He asked into the silence. No answer came. Only the soft echo of his name, like a plea in the dark. The next morning, Kane led another expedition to the ruins. This time he followed his instincts, guiding the team deeper into the crumbling city. Towers leaned overhead like broken teeth. Halls stretched endlessly, covered in glowing carvings. At last, they reached a massive chamber at the center of the ruins. It was circular, its walls lined with tall pods that shimmered faintly with energy. Dust lay thick on the floor, but the pods pulsed like hearts still trying to beat. Dr. Vey scanned the chamber, her eyes wide. These are stasis pods. Thousands of them. But most are empty, or burned out. Kane walked slowly between the pods, his chest tight. He could feel something here, an invisible weight pressing against him. Then his ears filled with the voice again, stronger than ever. Elias. He turned sharply. One pod near the center glowed brighter than the rest. Its surface flickered with patterns like veins of light running across stone. Inside, the faint outline of a tall, elegant being could be seen, motionless yet not fully gone. The voice came again, rising with desperation. Elias, help me! Kane staggered back, his pulse racing. He could hear it so clearly now, as if the being was standing right beside him. Morgan clutched her scanner. Commander, are you all right? Kane's eyes locked on the glowing pod. It's her. The voice, it's coming from there. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Only Kane could hear her. They returned to the ship with recordings of the pods and energy readings. Hours passed as Dr. Vey analyzed the data. At last, she faced Kane with troubled eyes. Commander, it's alive. Or something close to it. The pod holds a consciousness, fragmented, unstable, but still there. Somehow it's connected to you. It calls for you. Kane leaned forward, his voice low. Can we wake her? Dr. Vey hesitated. The systems are alien. We don't know the risks. If we try, we might destroy what little remains. Or we could save her, Kane pressed. This might be the last of her people. Morgan shook her head. Sir, we don't know what she is. She could be dangerous. Or she could be using you. Kane's jaw tightened. I don't believe that. When she spoke, It wasn't a trick. It was fear. It was need. The debate stretched late into the night, but Kane's decision was already made. He would not leave her to fade. Later, alone in his quarters, the voice returned. Softer now, weak but insistent. "My name, Illyra." Kane whispered the word, tasting it on his lips. "Illyra." "Yes," the voice answered faintly. "I am the last." "They are gone." "But I remain, Elias. You must help me. Sunrise will come soon. The light will burn all that is left." Kane stiffened. "Sunrise? What do you mean?" "Each dawn, the star. It destroys. The others have already faded. I am the last. Only until sunrise." Her words faded like smoke. The room grew quiet again, leaving Kane staring into the dark, his mind racing. The chamber shook as the first rays of the red star crept across the horizon. Thin beams of light spilled through cracks in the ruined ceiling, casting long shadows across the stasis pods. The air grew heavier, charged with strange energy. Kane stood in the circle of equipment, his hand still pressed against the glowing pod that held Illyra. Sweat ran down his face, but he refused to pull away. Around him, the crew worked frantically, adjusting controls, shouting readings, fighting against time itself. Dr. Vey's voice was sharp. "The radiation is spiking. The pods are destabilizing. If we don't complete the transfer now, it's over." Kane closed his eyes. He could feel Illyra's voice trembling inside his mind, weak and broken. "Elias, the dawn comes. I cannot hold." His jaw tightened. "No, you will hold. I won't let you fade." The machines hummed louder as Vey activated the resonance link. A beam of energy flowed between Kane and the pod, connecting them in a shimmering web of light. Pain surged through Kane's head like fire burning across his skull. He staggered, but forced himself to remain standing. Illyra's presence grew stronger, filling his mind with images. He saw her people as they once were, cities of silver towers, skies filled with ships that glided like birds, songs that echoed across their world. He saw their joy, their pride, their endless curiosity about the stars. Then he saw the fall. The red star flared violently, storms of radiation sweeping across the planet. The cities crumbled, the people fled, but there was nowhere to go. One by one they died, until only a few remained, those who bound themselves into the stasis pods, clinging to fragments of thought. And now, only Illyra remained. Kane gritted his teeth. "I won't let it end here." The light in the chamber flared as the connection deepened. Illyra appeared before him again, her form clearer than before. She looked at him with eyes filled with sorrow and hope. "You cannot carry me," she whispered. "The strain will break you." "Maybe," Kane said, his voice steady. "But humans are stubborn. We do what others think is impossible." Illyra's lips curved in a faint, fragile smile. "That is why I called your name. I felt it. Your refusal to let go." The field of light around them cracked again. The sun was rising faster now, and the pods began to shatter one by one. Across the chamber, faint echoes of her people stirred, ghostly figures standing, watching, waiting. They did not speak, but their presence filled the air with mourning. Kane's body trembled under the strain, but he poured every ounce of strength into the link. "Commander, your vitals are crashing." Dr. Vey's voice rang in his ear. "You have to stop or you'll die." Kane forced his eyes open. "Not until she's safe," Morgan shouted, her voice breaking. "Sir, this isn't your burden alone." "Let us help you." But Kane shook his head. "This isn't about me. This is about all of us. If we can save her, we save more than a life. We save a story, a history. We prove that no one has to die alone in the dark." The light surged, blinding. Illyra's hand touched his, soft and warm, and for the first time he felt her truly alive. "Elias," she whispered, her voice no longer desperate but grateful. "You gave me a dawn I thought I would never see." Outside, the red star broke fully over the horizon. Beams of fire stretched across the sky, striking the ruins. The other pods cracked and dissolved, their faint lights vanishing one by one. The echoes of Illyra's people lifted their heads, then slowly faded into nothingness, their last whispers carried away by the rising wind. But Illyra remained. Her pod glowed brighter, then shattered in a burst of silver light. The energy poured into the chamber, filling it with brilliance. When the glow faded, she stood there in the flesh, tall, graceful, her skin faintly luminous, her eyes wide as she breathed real air for the first time in countless ages. Kane collapsed to his knees, his chest heaving, his vision blurred, but he forced himself to look up. She stood before him alive. "You made it," he said weakly. She knelt beside him, her voice soft. "No, we made it.